Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Cottrell, and I'm a doctoral candidate at UNLV researching energy policy with a focus on demand response in high energy sectors like data centers and indoor agriculture. Today, I'll be discussing critical decarbonization barriers and opportunities, the role of automated demand response in data centers. Why does this matter? Because data centers are the invisible backbone of our digital age, from streaming to banking to artificial intelligence, but they're also becoming one of our most energy hungry sectors globally. The challenge is how to expand digital infrastructure while meeting our climate commitments. Automated demand response, or ADR, is one of the most powerful tools we have to meet the challenge. Let's start with the scope of the challenge. According to the International Energy Agency, data centers already account for 1% of electricity demand. That may sound small, but that's the equivalent to the power consumption of an entire mid-sized country. Now, add about 10 to 15% annual growth rate driven by artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and digital service. That's exponential growth. If left unchecked, data center energy demand could triple by 2030. This matters because 2030 isn't far away, and 2050 is the benchmark year by which most companies have committed to net zero emissions. Without intervention, data centers could become one of the biggest obstacles to achieving that goal. So the challenge is clear. We need decarbonization strategies that scale quickly as digital demand does. So what is automated demand response, or ADR? In simple terms, ADR allows data centers to automatically adjust their energy use in response to signals from the grid. When grid demand is peaking, for example, on a hot summer afternoon, ADR enables facilities to shed load, shift workloads, or rely on backup systems. This isn't about turning off servers recklessly. It's about using energy management systems and the open ADR communication protocol to optimize energy in real time without risking uptime. The benefits are significant: lower operational costs through reduced peak demand charges and incentive payments, improved grid stability, helping utilities balance supply and demand, better renewable integration because demand can shift to match times when wind or solar is abundant, and reducing curtailment. As Ashish Goel, CEO of Satellite, put it, demand response works when decisions are based on reliable, accurate data. ADR assures that reliability through automation and integration. Now let's look at the barriers, and the first one is pricing. Most utilities still use flat pricing rate structures. That means data centers pay the same rate no matter when they use there's no incentive to shift workloads to off-peak. The impact: the large data center in Nevada reported a higher operational cost during peak hours. With real-time pricing and time-of-use pricing, they can save significantly. Research shows that only 23% of eligible data centers participate in demand response program. The reason isn't technical capacity. Most already have the hardware. It's financial. Without strong price signals, participation simply doesn't pay off. Consider this case. During a grid emergency in the Southwest, a major cloud provider ran at full capacity because flat rate trading gave it no incentives to curtail. Had real-time pricing been in place, they could have reduced the load by 12 megawatts, enough to potentially avoid rolling blackouts. So barrier is clear: no pricing signal, no flexibility. The second barrier is infrastructure. Many older facilities simply don't have the systems needed to integrate with ADR. Legacy data centers often lack real-time monitoring for power and cooling, automated load control, granular energy consumption data, and predictive analytics for IT and cooling management. Even when the technology exists, there's operational resistance. Uptime is king in data center industry, and many operators worry ADR will disrupt service. Service level agreements prioritize availability over efficiency, and IT and facility teams are often siloed. We're no longer reacting, we're optimizing our production and output, driving down energy costs. That's the shift data centers need to embrace. It requires cultural as well as a technical change. Barrier is the regulatory inconsistencies. In California, programs like Emergency Load Reduction Program provide strong ADR incentives, but in many states, there are no clear-cut rules, no consistent incentives, no standardization protocols. This creates a pack worker system that is difficult for operators to build a unified national strategy. According to the Department of Energy, regulatory inconsistencies have accounted for 35% of the adoption gap in commercial demand response program. Other structural issues include minimum size thresholds that exclude smaller data centers, complex registration and verification requirements, as well as inconsistent measurements and verification protocols across regions. These gaps create uncertainty, and uncertainty limits adoption. Now let's move forward to the opportunities. Battery storage, also known as BESS, is transformative. It allows data centers to shave peak by charging off peak and discharging during high demand. This can reduce demand by charges by 40%. Participate in ancillary services, creating new revenue streams from frequency regulation. Integrate renewables by storing excess generation and providing power during these gaps. Take Google's data center in Belgium. They deploy a 2.5 megawatt battery system to offset peak and integrate on site solar. This system paid itself in less than 4 years, a proof point that storage is both technically and economically viable. Second, advanced energy management systems paired with OpenADR. The modern EMS enables granular tracking of energy consumption and power usage, automated workflow scheduling and power capturing, as well as dynamic cooling adjustment. It also has predictive alerts to prevent inefficiencies. OpenADR 2.0, the standardized protocols, ensures seamless, secure communication between data centers and utilities. It supports day-ahead and real-time signal, automates response, and reduces integration costs compared to proprietary systems. One co-location provider in California saw a 15% reduction in peak demand across facilities by adopting OpenADR. That translated to a $3.2 million in savings while maintaining a 99.9% uptime. That's 5.9, the gold standard of reliability. Another opportunity is artificial intelligence. AI enhances data ADR by enabling predictive load management, forecasting, demand, and shifting workloads. Dynamic cooling optimization by adjusting in real time to servers and outside conditions. Of course, our favorite is automated demand response, making split-second decisions to promote curtailment on a property. We also have renewable integration, which maximizes consumption when clean energy is available. An example is Meta's is a Prime data center. Their AI controlling delivered system up to a 20% savings during peaks. It also had a 15% reduction in overall cooling consumption. It improved temperature at the facility dramatically. And it also participated in automated demand response. This system uses deep reinforcement learning, meaning that it got smarter over time. For Meta, it's not just a sustainability tool, it's about having a competitive advantage. So how do we move forward? For policymakers, establishment of a national framework for ADR, mandate time of use or real-time pricing options, incentivize grid interactive data construction, standardized measurements for verification. For the utilities, we need to implement a dynamic rate structure that's very flexible with changes, not just a stagnant flat rate. Create ADR programs designed specifically for data centers and offer technical assistance for ADR implementation. We also look at providing long-term contracts for flexibility resources. For data centers operators, we need to invest in open ADR compatible energy management system. We need to be able to deploy these best systems for saving peak savings renewable integration, as well as implement AI optimization strategies, as well as revise SLAs to allow flexible and grid response operations. These steps align policy, utility design, and operator action into a cohesive decarbonization pathway. Let me bring you back to the big picture. Decarbonization of data centers is challenging, but it's very achievable. The barriers are real: outdated infrastructure, lack of pricing signal, regulatory inconsistency, but the opportunities are just as real with battery storage, advanced energy monitoring systems, open ADR, and AI optimization. If we act collaboratively, policymakers, utilities, operators, we can achieve these three outcomes simultaneously: lower costs for operators, greater reliability for the grid, and significant carbon reduction for our society. The energy transformation of data centers is not optimal, it's essential for meeting our climate goals, and the time to act is now. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.